Do you ever find yourself going somewhere and it's just a little too far to walk, but close enough that driving seems like a waste? Or you just want to get a little exercise out in the fresh air, but jogging is too ambitious? Enter the e-bike. I haven't ridden or owned a bike in over 25 years, unless you count a stationary bike. So what made me suddenly want to pick up a RadRunner e-bike for myself, and should you consider getting an e-bike too? I'm Matt Farrell. Welcome to Undecided. Even before the pandemic, I had been working from home for a year or two. I drive far less than I used to. I went from about 12,000 miles a year to closer to 6,000. A lot of my errands aren't too far from the house, so I wanted something small and quick for those kind of tasks. Why take a car out if I'm just running to the post office or picking up some lunch? It's a trend that's been picking up steam in the US, but has been commonplace in other areas of the world for a long time now. But a bike isn't just about getting around town quickly and easily. It's also a way to get me out of the house. Getting out of the house from time to time to enjoy the outdoors, get some sun, maybe some exercise, which, as you can tell, is not something I'm known for. This is a body carefully crafted from sitting on a couch for decades. Now, I'm not planning to do mountain trails or high-speed recreational style riding. When I started looking at an e-bike, I was looking for something that was a cross between a commuter bike and a utility bike. Something that had built-in supports for baskets or bags when I was running errands, and something that had tires that could handle a variety of terrains in case I ended up going off-roading. Something that may not be the speediest of bikes, but would get me around town with ease, and without breaking the bank. That's why I landed on RadPower's RadRunner e-bike. It has all the basic features you're going to want, but at a great price compared to what you typically see for an e-bike. At the time of making this video, the bike starts at about $1,199 and comes in black or forest green. The RadRunner is a Class 2 e-bike, which, if you don't know about the different classes, there are 3, and all are limited to 1 horsepower or about 750 watts. Class 1 is a motor that kicks in only when you pedal and stops helping at about 20 miles an hour. Class 2, same pedal assist up to 20 miles an hour, but also has a throttle-powered mode, so you don't have to pedal. Class 3 is the same pedal assist as Class 1, but it maxes out at 28 miles per hour. Be sure to check the rules and regulations for where you live before buying an e-bike. The RadRunner is a single-speed drivetrain with a hub-based motor. There are e-bikes with multiple gears and mid-motor designs, which is where the motor is located between the pedals instead of the wheel hub. But there are trade-offs to each type. It really depends on what you're looking for in your e-bike. With a single-speed design, there's less maintenance without the gear shifting, and the same is true for hub-based motors. There's generally less maintenance with the single-gear design, as well as less wear on the chain when you're cruising along with the throttle because the hub motor is spinning the wheel itself. The chain isn't being used in that case. Because I was looking for a more utilitarian commuter-style bike, a hub-based motor was perfectly fine for me. And the single speed was also a non-issue since I most likely will be leaning on the electric motor if I was at high cruising speeds. That leads me to the basic specs of the bike. It has a 750 watt hub motor, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the max watts allowed. It comes with a 48 volt, 14 amp hour lithium ion battery, which is rated to get about 25 to 45 miles per charge. That's obviously going to vary depending on how much weight you're carrying, how much pedal assist or throttle that you're using, and the terrain. Charging it takes about 5 to 6 hours if it's fully depleted. So if this is your daily commuter bike, you'd most likely want to top it off every night. Not a big deal since the battery is easy to remove and take with you. Just insert the key, turn it all the way to the left, and lift it off. Reinserting it is just as easy. Once it's back on, just twist the key to the middle position to lock it in place, or all the way to the right to turn it on. The 20-inch by 3.3-inch tires are custom made for RadPower and are a ceramic particle reinforced tire from Kenda, which is designed for extra protection against things like thorns, glass, and other items you might come across while riding. Now, to keep costs down, RadPower simplified the controls to an LED control panel that shows you the charge of the battery, the pedal assist level, and a headlight control. It's pretty bare bones, but gets the job done. You can buy an upgrade to an LCD panel that will also show you things like your speed, but this is a great area to cut back on costs without compromising on quality. The built-in headlight and taillight are also nice touches. The headlight isn't the brightest light out there, but it offers decent coverage, and the brake light automatically activates anytime the brakes are applied. Speaking of which, the disc brakes on the bike are very responsive and have a lot of stopping power. They feel very high-end. There's a twist grip throttle on the right handle, which is easy to grip and control while you're riding. You can use this from a cold start, to take over at cruising speed, or in my case, getting a little extra help going up this hill. Rad Power ships directly to customers, so keep in mind that you're going to have some assembly to do. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to build his own house, but I am fairly handy. Putting it together took about an hour, and that was with me taking my time and double checking everything. The great part is that Rad Power includes everything you need in the box, including the tools. Now granted, it is only hex keys, a screwdriver, and a few wrenches, but you'll have all the basics that you need. Still, it's probably a good idea to pick up a torque wrench for yourself, so you really can ensure that you're not over-tightening things. But you could also have a local bike shop put it together for you. This isn't the kind of bike you'll be tossing into the trunk of your car. Although, I might be able to fit it in my Model 3, but I do not care to give it a try. It's a big boy, clocking in at 65 pounds and feels like it can really take some abuse. The Rad Runner really does feel like it can stand up to pretty much anything and will last for a very long time. It's more on the utilitarian side of things for looks, but I do think it looks pretty nice for what it is. There's a lot of options for accessories when customizing your own. I ended up getting the base model and adding some fenders, and between the larger tires and the fenders, the bike looks like a moped at a glance, especially if you add the accessories like the center console. In fact, the number of accessories and ways that you can customize the bike was a big selling point for me. But how does it ride? In 3 words, it's a blast. The larger diameter tires make for a comfortable ride on hard surfaces like roads or sidewalks, but can also handle off-road traction with ease. The lack of suspension shows through though when you hit uneven surfaces. If you reduce the tire pressure slightly, you can offset some of that, but the biggest culprit in bumpy road comfort is the seat. You can only adjust the seat up and down, with no way to adjust the seat slightly forward or back. It's also incredibly stiff and flat, so my bony backside was not too thrilled with it. This is my one big complaint with the bike. But this may not be true for you, and you may find that it works just fine, but for me, it didn't. There are 2 easy solutions for this. One is to get the optional passenger seat for $99, which is very thick and padded, and you can shift yourself back onto that seat and be more of a forward-leaning position, which some people find more comfortable. It's interesting because the seat sits further forward than I expected, so as a 6'1" guy with long legs, I feel a little too far forward above the pedals when sitting squarely on the seat. If I had the passenger seat, this would probably feel a little more, normal to me. But the second option is you could pick up a different shock-absorbing seat post and a bike seat of your choice. Now, I've ordered something called the SR Suntour SP12 NCX seat post, which is shock-absorbing, and a Velo plush seat from Rad Power. They still haven't arrived yet, but they should make a big difference for longer rides and bumpy surfaces. What about the power and the handling? The single gear is both nice and a little frustrating. It does keep the mechanics and the upkeep simple, but it means that you have no control over how fast the rotation is for the pedals at different speeds. At high speeds, you're going to be pedaling very fast to keep up with the momentum. With pedal assist turned on, you don't have to worry about the effort needed in doing that, but it's still some very fast pedaling. It's not a big complaint for me because I usually just kick on the throttle when I'm at fast cruising speeds and let the bike do the work. Remember, couch-crafted body here. When using pedal assist, you'll notice that it's not instantaneous. There's a slight delay which reminds me of turbo lag in a car. You usually notice it kicking in between half to a full pedal cycle rotation, which isn't bad at all. And when it does kick in, it's very smooth and not jerky or alarming at all. It's actually kind of fun. Using the throttle control on the handlebars does work surprisingly well from a cold start. It's not ludicrous mode on a Tesla, but it does have a surprising amount of torque and can get you up to speed quickly. Overall, this bike feels like it's built like a tank and can take a beating. Even the dual leg kickstand feels incredible. Everything that's core to this bike feels like quality, which is what makes the price so crazy compelling. Every other bike I was looking at that fit my criteria was hundreds, if not thousands more than this. And where Rad Power cut costs, they're all on things that are less essential and easily upgradable if you want to. Everything from the headlight to the power control panel is swappable. Add to that all of the customization options with racks, baskets, center consoles, kid seats, and fenders. You can really make this bike fit whatever need you're trying to fill. And I'm really happy with this bike, especially since it's getting me off the couch. Now, if you're interested in the Rad Runner, I've got a link in the description. And if you like this video, be sure to check out one of my other reviews that I've got linked to right here. Jump into the comments and let me know if you've got an e-bike and what you think. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.